In this video, we are going to talk about who is Volodymyr Zelenshyy. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. Volodymyr Zelenshyy was born in 1978 in the Ukrainian city of Kryvyi Rih, which was then part of the Soviet Union. In the late 1990s, he co-founded a popular comedy ensemble. He appeared in a long-running sketch comedy show and sitcom about a teacher who suddenly becomes president after starting the production firm Quartal 95 in 2003. In 2019, Zelenshyy launched a surprise presidential candidacy, which he won by a landslide. COVID-19 epidemic concerns and a failure to stop the long-running war in eastern Ukraine overshadowed his domestic achievements. Following Russia's invasion of his nation in early 2022, Zelenshyy was thrown into the position of wartime president. Early childhood. Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelenshyy was born on January 25, 1978, in Kryvyi Rih, a former Soviet Union industrial city in central Ukraine. He spent 4 years in Mongolia with his father Alexander, a computer science professor, and mother Rima, an engineer, before returning to Kryvyi Rih, where he was raised in a Jewish home. In August 1991, the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the formation of Ukraine ushered in a period of instability in the area. Zelenshyy avoided the city's gang violence by developing a passion for music and theater, particularly the improv and sketch comedy contests popularized by the Russian TV program KVN. He co-founded Quartal 95, a comedy company named after his home neighborhood, in 1997. Zelenshyy earned a law degree from Kryvyi Rih National University in 2000, but by then his interests were driving him toward a career as a performer, Studio Quartal 95, movies and TV shows. Zelenshyy and his colleagues created Studio Quartal 95 in 2003 after appearing on KVN on a regular basis. They went on to have a huge success with Evening Quartal, a sketch comedy show akin to Saturday Night Live that included Zelensky's vulgar humor, while also mocking politicians. Zelenshyy became a mainstay on the big screen in romantic comedies like No Love in the City and 8 First Dates after winning the Ukrainian edition of Dancing with the Stars in 2006. In 2018, he made his feature film directorial debut with Miu, in which he portrayed the main bear in the Ukrainian language adaptation of Paddington. He or she, to be precise. Campaign for the presidency. Following his absorption in political material, Zelenshyy founded the Servant of the People Party, named after the famous satirical TV series in which he portrayed a high school teacher who becomes president. The popular comedian revealed his ambition to run for president on the 2018-19 Evening Quartal New Year's Eve performance. Zelenshyy launched an unconventional campaign, opting for sharing personal videos and traveling with his comedy company instead of typical events. He led a crowded field of 39 candidates in the first round of voting in March 2019, striking a chord with his anti-corruption message. On April 21, 2019, the political newcomer won a massive 73% of vote, easily defeating Ukraine's incumbent president, Petro Poroshenko. Presidency of Ukraine. Zelenshyy was elected president of Ukraine on April 21 with a whopping 73% of the vote. When Putin announced his plan to provide Russian passports to Ukrainian nationals in separatist-controlled parts of war-torn eastern Ukraine, the president-elect faced his first foreign policy issue within days. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians had been displaced by the Russian-backed hybrid war, which was now in its 5th year. Zelenshyy mocked the offer, writing on Facebook that Ukrainian citizenship should be granted to Russians and anyone who suffer from dictatorial or corrupt administrations. Early challenges and a snap election. Zelenshyy was sworn in as president on May 20, 2019. In his inauguration speech, he called for national unity and announced the dissolution of the Verkhovna Rada, which he gave in a combination of Russian and Ukrainian Supreme Council. This was a politically essential action since his presidential win did not impart a legislative mandate because Servant of the People did not have any seats in the legislature. On July 21, snap elections were conducted, with Zelenshyy himself describing the race as perhaps more significant than the presidential election. Servant of the People earned an absolute majority, taking 254 of the 450 seats. 26 seats were not contested, representing Crimea, a Ukrainian autonomous republic that Russia unlawfully invaded in 2014, and the conflict zone in the east. For the first time in Ukraine's post-Soviet history, a single political party had complete control over the legislative agenda. While Zelenskyy was putting up his new government, his links to his previous business partner were once again scrutinized. Kolomoisky's media conglomerate had supplied Zelenskyy with a significant platform during his presidential campaign, but Zelenskyy swore that his administration would not provide any special favors. Just days before Zelenskyy's inauguration, Kolomoisky returned to Ukraine. The billionaire said that he would not operate as a gray cardinal, influencing policies from behind the scenes. Zelenskyy and U.S. President Donald Trump. Zelenskyy's administration was thrust into the spotlight after an American intelligence whistleblower publicly denounced President Donald Trump's actions in September 2019. The issue was Trump's apparent unwillingness to offer major military aid to Ukraine, unless it investigated charges of wrongdoing by former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Trump claimed without evidence that Hunter Biden abused his position as a board member of Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian oil business, to benefit his son. In April 2019, Biden announced his campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination against Trump in 2020. Rudolph Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer, began in serious contacts with Ukraine's Prosecutor General, Yuri Lutsenko, immediately after. These arguments started with allegations against former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, but swiftly expanded to include Biden. Trump pursued the claims despite Zelenskyy's transition team's refusal to meet with Giuliani over an issue of internal U.S. politics. On July 25, 2019, Trump called Zelenskyy to discuss the Biden family investigation. Trump admitted postponing the help package until the discussion, but claimed no pay was promised or sought. To examine the Burisma incident, Zelenskyy fired Lutsenko in August. Nearly $400 million in U.S. military funds remained pending despite bipartisan legislative approval. The funds were finally provided on September 11, 2019, but by then, American legislators were demanding more information regarding Trump and his July 25 conversation with Zelenskyy. In response to Trump's claimed efforts to influence Zelenskyy, the U.S. House of Representatives launched an impeachment inquiry on September 24, 2019. Trump was judged guilty by the House but acquitted by the Senate, so he fired disloyal people. This led to the departure of several of the most senior U.S. national security experts on Russia and Ukraine. The COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 pandemic had a significant impact on everyday life in Ukraine, as it did in many other nations throughout the globe. Although Zelenskyy devised a national mitigation plan to curb the development of COVID-19, the virus's potentially fatal illness, some local officials defied Kyiv's directives. Mayors of many of Ukraine's major cities argued with Zelenskyy over planned business closures and lockdown measures, feeling emboldened by 2014 government changes that ceded substantial sovereignty to the municipal level. The tug-of-war between Zelenskyy and the mayors will have a huge impact on the October 2020 municipal elections. Regional parties dominated mayoral elections, but national parties faltered, notably Zelenskyy's Servant of the People. The bad election result mirrored a general drop in popular support for Zelenskyy. His populist reform plan looked to have stagnated, while the crisis in eastern Ukraine remained unresolved. While Zelenskyy was able to kickstart his political agenda with the passing of a bill aimed at limiting oligarchic power, the Russian-backed insurgency in the Donbass quickly developed into the most serious danger to European stability since World War II. Russia launched a huge buildup of soldiers and equipment at the border with Ukraine in late 2021. Additional Russian troops were sent to Belarus, reportedly for cooperative military exercises, and a large Russian naval fleet was amassed in the Black Sea. The steps were seen by Western intelligence services as a clear preparation to an invasion, but Putin denied any such aim. Western officials continued to negotiate with both Putin and Zelenskyy in an attempt to avoid the looming bloodbath, but Russia's military preparations persisted. Putin declared on February 21, 2022, that he would recognize the self-proclaimed People's Republics of Donetsk and Luhansk as independent states and assign peacekeepers to both areas. Western leaders retaliated with a fresh wave of penalties, and Zelenskyy gave a televised appeal for peace to the Russian people in the early morning hours of February 24. Putin proclaimed the start of a special military action shortly after, about 6 a.m. Moscow time, and Russian cruise missiles started raining down on targets in Ukraine. Leaders from all around the globe condemned the unjustified assault, and Zelenskyy attempted to mobilize support from the international community. Hundreds of military personnel and civilians were murdered on the first day of battle when Russian soldiers and armored vehicles flooded into Ukraine from Russia, Russian-occupied Crimea, and Belarus. As international leaders ratcheted up the pressure on Russia, Zelenskyy attempted to garner support from outside, saying that a new Iron Curtain was coming on Europe. Do you think Zelenskyy will be able to push Russia back? Let us know in the comment box below. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Thank you.